All right, today we are out in the garden. We are not going to look at me because I'm a hot mess, but I am figuring out the irrigation system. Took me a little bit to trace some of these. We had these irrigation spigots in different places, and so I was able to trace it back. We've got a couple of different connections here. So I've got this connection, that connection, and then the hose that we use to water the front orchard. So I've got timers. I found those in the barn that we brought with us. This timer has enough for 2 hoses, so I figure I can put the irrigation system on this one and put the front hose on that one. And that means I'm going to need a splitter, which I think I actually might even have. But if I don't, I'll just grab one. Anyway, I'm super happy that they did dig and bury some irrigation. And I'll show you, just like you can see right there, it's underground. Partially underground. And then in the pump house, you can see where the irrigation kind of flows around. And so this is super critical while planting the garden. I've had to spend a little time out here to figure out how these guys work. But now I understand how she got such lush plants around the pool that probably haven't been watered since she left. So I didn't really understand exactly how all that worked. And you know how it is. You take over a new house and you don't get them to explain every single detail. So I've got a little bit of work to learn some stuff. But anyway, there's the T down there, and it keeps on coming down here. This area she had, and this one is just down. It needs to be up, but it is functioning at least. It does look a little bit leaky, so I might replace this one. But you can see this one is in the ground for sure. So she had a little small herb garden right here. This is the only garden that I could tell on the whole property. Rumor has it from other neighbors that once upon a time she had gardens up in the carport, like in that long stretch between the carport and the fence over there. So I'm sure that ground is very good. I'm going to do raised beds here. So I'm just trying to assess like what I've got to work with. Oh, look at that pretty butterfly. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In the spring, when this is blooming, this butterfly bush, butterfly tree, I guess. There's another one on the other side of the pool. It is so gorgeous. And I see these kind of guys everywhere. They're just lovely. Never get tired of that. Okay, so you can see that there's another head over there. And that becomes important because she had plants around the pool. And, you know, again, you're like, how are these staying lush? It's like drought, you know. So now we know. That one actually goes all the way from the pool all the way over to the other side of the fence in a complete circle. So now this is the designated garden area. And I might get pelted with water just standing here, but it's okay. So in the springtime, I want this to be the main garden. And there's a couple things in my way here. And one of the things is this goat shack. Now, I've had some ideas about maybe turning this into a greenhouse if I don't want to buy one. I'm just going back and forth about that. I don't know. I also have somebody who will come and get this if we don't want it. The third option, and you can see where it is probably not ideal. You see how much shade this plot gets? And largely it's because of this tree, which we've actually talked about taking down. The chicken coop is there. This is just the perfect garden space. It's all fenced in. It's got a gate to bring, compost or whatever You can just dump it right there. You've got a gate to the rest of the property there, and a gate to the front garden here. So I just feel like, you know, it's ideal as far as placement goes to the house. You would come out the door here, come down into the garden, main garden. This is my vision here anyway. And then, yeah, you've also got a gate to the neighbor's property over on the other side. Anyway, what we'd love to do in an ideal world, if we had all the manpower and all the resources, is move this building down there. That is Noah's treehouse. And right now it's more of like a chicken pen, chicken run. He doesn't really love to go down there because the steps are all broken. There's some things that need to happen to it, and he wants to paint it and do stuff to it. So we may have that project covered in the future, but the immediate situation, do I let this go to somebody who really wants it and just let them come and have it just to get it out of the way? I mean, it's got decent wood and boards. I love these crazy things, and we have a few more of these in the barn. I think the man who lived here used this type of tree, whatever it is, to make a lot of things, because there's the roost is made out of that, and the chicken coop and all that. But you can see this was the goat hospital or whatever. So if they had a goat that needed to be quarantined from everybody else, they'd put it in here. I don't know how they handled like the goat jumping out of the windows, but then they could milk them and do any kind of medical things they needed to do. She was a goat breeder. And then it's got like a little lean-to area with a place for hay for grazing and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of my headspace where I'm at today. I really want to at least have an idea of irrigation, so I know how to set up the garden, what the next iteration of the garden is going to be. These gigantic telephone poles, I think they would be great as garden bed edges, and she did that in a couple of places, and I'll show you where that is. These are all my beds that I brought from Virginia. So these can be stacked, these can be used on their own. It's a lot of 4x4s and a couple of rectangular ones, and there's some more in the barn that didn't make it out here. But I'm going to show you one other space. This right here, this U-shaped space, which is where all those raised beds are going to go. I'll turn around here when I hopefully not get you wet. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This U-shaped area is going to be a tea garden. It's going to have herbs and medicinal plants and everything that you would need to make tea. I have a book about the tea garden. I have the seeds that I need to start it. So I will be laying low raised beds along here. This will be the entryway to the main garden. And I'm thinking I might want to move the gate from here to a more central location so that I could do an archway over top of that and make that like a focal point so that you walk through the tea garden to get to the main garden. What I love is that this is the chicken coop. So any, weeds or whatever, vegetable scraps can be thrown in here. You can see where those telephone pole sort of railroad tie things were used to frame out some garden beds, and I really like that look. But I think this area could use a little, just a little refresh. Like I've got a couple more of these railroad ties in the barn. I think I have like two more. So I might finish that off. Take that, and there's another water trough right there. Make those planters and kind of arrange them artfully. I loved how she did this. I'm so grateful that she left all the little pots with different flowers, and they were so beautiful when they were blooming. So, but anyway, this is the empty chicken coop. Our current flock lives in the barn, and apparently they just roost in the rafters. So we're trying to change that situation around as well. They are free rangers 100%. Well, I say that, but they do have feed on demand, so they can actually get food if they need it. But yeah, they're free rangers, and they're not going to be told what to do. But what I'm hoping is in the future to grab, I want about 5 hens with no rooster in this coop. She ran 2 flocks at the same time, the lady who owned this house first. And she took this flock that was here with her and left the barn flock. I guess she just sort of knew they were older. They're still laying, but you know, they're slowing down for sure. So don't know how much longer they'll be laying. And in fact, their production's pretty, I mean, we get about, I think on a reasonable day, we get about 5 or 6. We have 11 hens. One was broody for a while. She just had a chick. So she wasn't laying, obviously, for a little while. But she's back to laying. Okay. Got the green stalks going very slowly because, hey, lazy people, you still have to water the green stalk. I am the worst. I need, like, automation. And I think that's the only way that this whole system will work for me. And that's why I'm so excited to find the irrigation and figure it out. Now, there is irrigation up here. I'll show you that real quick. She has all of these ornamentals in the front of the house. And they're pretty, considering how dry it's been, they're pretty lush. Okay, but you see the head, the sprinkler head here, and then there's one over there. There's 3, I think. So what I would like to do is replace these ornamentals with some berries or something edible that's also beautiful. I know blueberries have gorgeous foliage in the autumn. So this may be a blueberry bed at some point. But right now, what I'd love to do is make this another kind of U shape into the berry patch. Now we've got 2 struggling blueberries. My philosophy is, if it says it needs full sun, I'm going to put it in full sun. But often I think that things like blueberries, they need a little bit of shade. This one's getting burned up. I'm trying to shade it a little bit here. This has just been completely crispy. But the stems are still green, so I think that means it's still alive, and I'm giving it a shot. These all came from Lowe's, so I know if they die within the first year, they can be replaced. Problem is getting a bush this size. I really want it to make it till next year, so it can start producing blueberries. Smaller you go, the longer you have to wait, obviously, for blueberries, but that's pretty sad. This is the elderberry that I brought from Virginia that was doing so well on my apartment patio and actually loves this spot. So I'm super happy with that. The idea is we have another spigot here. It took us forever to figure that out because there was this like weird broken bucket just sitting on top of it. And we were like, I wonder why that's covered. Well, it's covered so you don't run over it with the lawnmower and jack up your lawnmower. So we uncovered it and discovered it's a spigot. Yay. We can water our berries and our crepe myrtle. Yay. But what I was thinking was I would like to go ahead and continue the berry patch. At least, I think this is kind of a dead corner because that's going to get a lot of shade. But I think there's a couple of spots here that could take a couple more blueberries or raspberries. I think I don't have raspberries yet. I have blackberries. And maybe like right here. But as I was tinkering with things today, I discovered there's this one watering irrigation spigot right there. And it reaches basically this whole fence line. It spins around in a circle and it gets all the plants up there. If it's positioned correctly. Right now it's fallen down and I got to really do some figuring out on how to arrange it so that it can hit all that. But man, how fun would it be to just do blueberries or berry bushes all the way along the fence line. So that is what I'm thinking will be the new berry patch. So much good sun. We already have irrigation in place. Over here, I will have to tinker around with something and come up with some irrigation for what's already on that side. But I don't know if I'm going to add blueberries or berries. I keep saying blueberries. Berries where I was thinking, which, you know, was in this little corner. I guess the idea for me was that I was trying to segment, like, if you want to go pick berries, you go to one place. So I don't have stuff spread out all over the place. The orchard's in the front yard. That's a whole separate experience. But I want berries all along the fence. I think it will also give us some more privacy. We have one neighbor that lives directly behind us, and of course you can't see. But his driveway is at the end of our property right there. And so there's two houses actually back there, and then there's one house, like, I don't know if you can see that in the distance there. And I think he has his own driveway. But we do see the owners of the houses back here, they walk their dog down this driveway. They come down and cut the grass. You know, they take care of their part of the lawn. If you see, the driveway goes all the way around the other side of our property, past the pond. And so, not to say that it's like a busy super highway, but when you're out in the pool, it's kind of nice to have a little bit more privacy. So you can kind of see just where the fences are. You can kind of see where his driveway is. Anyway, the point of that is just trying to arrange this space so that things can be taken care of on a irrigation system. You can see that one, man, it's going to town over there. I'm going to have to figure out something about the green stalks. I'm a terrible, terrible plant mom. Never been good about watering things. My gardens always grow in spite of me, not because of me. This stuff around the pool died like almost immediately. It's echinacea is over there. And then, I don't know what that is. It's lamb's quarter, what that little fuzzy plant is. But there were some irises, and so they were real pretty. Of course, now they're gone. So I'm hoping for next year we'll have the irrigation back up and running, and they'll get taken care of. I see that there's one more, and this irrigation head I have not been able to figure out because the head, or the hose rather, appears to be buried. I have no idea what system this is on and what it shoots out at. I don't know. So, gonna have to figure that out. There is one back here. You can see that one when that comes on. That comes on with the side, so that's dug in. So I thought they were connected, but when I've turned that one on before, I've never seen this one work. So I don't know if that's just completely separate. Anyway, these are just my thoughts for the day. Nothing major, but I did want to just get outside. It's so beautiful outside, so nice, and I've been working inside, not loving it. So I just wanted to clear my head out here. Is anybody else's garlic going crazy? Planted my garlic and it's like sprouting and getting nuts. So I guess I'll just clip it off and let it overwinter. Got an olive tree that I will eventually plant. This is stevia, what's left of it. Got some squash coming up. Poor guys. They just got watered last night, but if anybody has any good ideas about rigging up an irrigation system, I don't necessarily want like drip irrigation in here. I think that's too fussy. But what I'd love to do is like set up something, maybe PVC, that connects those two and connect it to a hose. Just turn on the hose and let it dump the water, you know. Anyway, that's kind of my crazy thoughts. Okay. I think I've given you all the thoughts I have for the day. Look at this crazy hair of mine. My goodness gracious. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, and I will see you on the next one.